Backdrop of all of this, in our government, the banks own the Senate. They cash whip senators who don't go after this subject. And now to talk about the legal aspects of student loans and debt forgiveness is legal media analyst Lionel of Lionel Media. He joins us tonight from New York. Lionel, good to have you with us. Let's start with what we do culturally in this country. It's the American dream, man, to have a home, have a car, have a retirement, but it's really okay to go in debt, too. We teach kids early on in life that the more you make, the more you can go in debt. This is as much a cultural problem with the way we run our finances in this country as anything else, isn't it?
Certainly, and what's also interesting, Ed, is you look at the message. You can go into a bankruptcy court and discharge everything, gambling debts, Vegas in most cases, mortgages, but student loan debts are off the books. Now, technically speaking, let me just say something right now. I am not a financial analyst. I am not giving any advice, but there are ways to discharge student loan debt, but it would be like traversing Everest. What's interesting to note also is, and I want you to keep this in mind, Ed, as more and more for-profit universities spring up, you know the names, and as more and more diploma mills hook kids into this, it's not even a Ponzi scheme. These organizations, Ed, make the Gambino crime family look like the junior league. I mean, you get these kids and you make promises to them of the future. Promises which, by the way, later on may turn out to be false. You're going to see debt collection statutes, consumer credit statutes into play, and you're going to see not these loans set aside or discharged in bankruptcy court, but you're going to see more and more congressional action, I hope, and courts intervene by claiming that the basis and bases for the loans were in fact fraudulent, claiming higher job success rates than were actually possible. So this is going to add a new little aspect to this. Bankruptcy is one thing, but you may be able to have debt forgiveness in addition to the usual plate based upon fraud.
And these confiscatory rates that this generation is having to fork out, why doesn't Congress do something about it? And of course, now there is a serious conversation about it on the campaign trail.
Well, I tell you what Congress could do. First of all, we have to unleash the full faith and credit and the power of the Federal Reserve, which, as someone said, is as federal as Federal Express. We have to treat students like a failed bank. Because remember, money's no object when it came to that. And if, using what Elizabeth Warren had suggested and others, imagine giving student loans the same type of discount rate, Ed, that banks had. And this would not cost the American public a dime because we're lending, not spending. And what's also important to note is that we could use the Federal Reserve as a national bank. You know, right now in New York, everybody's going crazy over this Hamilton, the musical Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton would be appalled by the Fed and would embrace a national bank system. Remember, this country, the Fed, forgave, well, I shouldn't say forgave, but created out of nowhere about $16 trillion that went nowhere. If we declared students a failed bank and bailed them out, we'd be on the road to recovery and for the future.
Lionel, great to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much for joining us on this very important topic.